We went on a 2-year adventure, leaving Texas, moving to Missouri, and then ended up in Arkansas. I'm going to walk you through the whole story. One thing that's interesting, right behind me here, picked this up in a thrift store. They thought it was a deer hide and asked me if I wanted it. I was a regular there because of the shoes business that we had. Anyway, they asked me if I wanted it for like $5. I said, sure, I'll take it. It was very nice. It was professionally tanned and done. Although, when I got it home and unrolled it, you'll notice here, wow, wait a minute, look at that tail. I've never seen a deer with a tail like that before. So, yeah, this is not a deer hide. I reckon it's either a mountain lion or a chupacabra. It's not a deer. But anyway, very, very nice, very soft. Another good buy from a thrift store. Okay, let's start off this story. It starts in Texas, and at the time we were doing, look at our channel, you see we're all about doing side gigs and little businesses and whatever to pay the bills without having a full-time job. And I've got an ebook on that. It's a little bit old at this point, so I need to update it. But if you're interested in it, leave a link down below in a comment. And we've also got an ebook on how to cut your living expenses by 80%. And most people can cut them at least by 50 to 60%. And if you go the extra 9 yards, you can do 70 to 80%. That makes a big, big difference in what you're required to have, for income, as well as being able to invest and do other things. So anyway, long story short, we are working in Texas. We were working in Texas on our e-commerce business. We were buying shoes and boots at local thrift stores and flipping those online. And that business started off a little rocky, a little learning curve, but we did very, very well with it. It was growing rapidly. It even grew to the point where we were able to hire 2 virtual assistants to help us with creating the listings. And it was going along real well. We were grossing over $40,000 a year, which again, doesn't sound like very much. We were netting probably about $25,000, $28,000 a year, which, like I said, doesn't sound like very much, but when you don't have any expenses, like normal households, it goes a long way. And plus, doing a few other things on the side. And the shutdown as a result of the pandemic, that was about 3 or 4 months, whereas the thrift stores were closed. And at first we thought, wow, our business is really spiked. It's spiked because people are sitting home checking out our shoes and boots online and buying them. Well, our inventory was just flying off the shelves, but there was no inventory replacing what was being sold. So we knew that was not good. We went from about 900 pieces of inventory down to about, I want to say 400. So we sold a little over half of our inventory, which was detrimental to our business. So with the pandemic shutdown basically killing our business, we tried for a few months to get it going back to where it was, or get it growing again. And that was very hard, very difficult. Along about that same time, we were introduced to crypto, Bitcoin, and so forth. Jumped on the wagon like a lot of people did, and put a couple $1,000s in. Next thing you know, it's 10 grand. So we're like, wow, this is awesome. We got to the point where, well, this crypto is going great, making some money. And then we're thinking about, well, where are we going to retire? Our place there in Texas was getting crazy. I mean, it was a place out in the country. It was real nice when we moved out there. Although after the plots out there were sold off, lots of people coming and going up and down the roads, the road, some one road, subdivision, but it just got to be too much. It was like the city moved out into the country around us. So we were looking to find another place, and we saw this as an opportunity to look for a place that we would like to retire, because we're a few years away from retirement and just trying to be aware of that and go ahead and get someplace and get established. Along with the crypto, we had income in a sense. We could sell our house, we'd have our property, and so we have money there to work with, create some more businesses or enterprises, and keep things going. So our goal basically was to find a place where we could feel comfortable retiring, as well as use the money to springboard into other adventures as far as money, business. So that's what we did. As far as where we're going to go, we started looking and searching online, LandWatch and all these different websites for properties. We settled on Missouri. We thought, wow, there's some beautiful properties up there. We're mainly looking in the Ozark area, which Ozarks extends from East Oklahoma through central and northern Arkansas up into Missouri, up towards St. Louis. And so that's the area we were looking. Why? Well, like I said, we're looking for a place to retire, and that area, either of those states, those three states, are actually very cheap to live. Low taxes, low property taxes, and there's pros and cons. The cons is you pretty much have to be somewhat of a nomad earner as far as your income, because there's no economy. There's not much economy in the Ozark area unless you're in the big cities like Fayetteville or Little Rock or Oklahoma City or whatnot. We certainly didn't want to be in any of those. So looked around, we found something in Missouri, Gainesville, Missouri, which is about 15 minutes over the border of Arkansas. And found us a place there, 20 acres for $38,500. Now, let me back up a little bit and let you know we put about $25,000 into our little cottage in Texas that we developed and built out. Built some outbuildings and so forth, and that 4.5 acres we paid about $28,000, I believe, for that. And we ended up selling the 4.5 acres with the little cottage and everything you see in the videos. We sold that for $155,000. So we took that money, packed up the U-Haul with everything, and headed to Missouri. Standing here now at our first efforts of growing a little bit of something here in Arkansas. Get confused. Stay with me. We moved to Missouri, but we ended up in Arkansas. Stay tuned. I'm going to fill in the rest of the details. For right now, let me show you this garlic. As y'all know, the whole country went through a bad freeze this winter. I think we lost a lot of it, but some of it survived. I pulled up one of them. Let me show you this real quick. I want to show you this magnolia tree. Beautiful, large. If I can tilt up so you see this thing is huge. I don't know, 60 feet high, I'm guessing. You see a limb over here that came down off of it from the storm. Ice freeze storm we just went through. Knocked down a lot of branches and a lot of trees. It was the weirdest thing. We've never experienced trees coming down, especially like you see here. Let me pan around here so you can see large trees. Like I say, we're in Arkansas, so there's a lot of pine trees. Our property here actually has a lot of oak and different varieties of trees. Most of them are very, very old, very, very tall. We're used to Texas, where the tree roots have to go deep to find water. A lot of times here, the water table is pretty high, sandy soil, so the root systems are pretty shallow. They can't handle a lot of weight from ice and different things. So, anyway, back to our story. So, we ended up in Missouri, Gainesville, Missouri. Beautiful, beautiful area. And we found 20 acres there. We looked mainly in Arkansas and in Missouri, and a lot of them are just so beautiful. But pros and cons, something you don't see online, is access. How do you get to them? Some of them are up on the top of a hill where you have to have a 4-wheel drive to get up to them. It's just, things that you have to be aware of. They don't tell you that in the ad. Or a bad neighborhood. They certainly don't push that very well in the ads. Things like that you find out when you go visit them, when you actually go on site and walk them. So anyway, we found a beautiful 20-acre parcel that was Missouri, that had a nice neighborhood. Basically, there was no neighbors. There were neighbors on one side and no neighbors from there. And all of the tracts out there in that area were like 100 acres, 200 acres, or several hundred acres. And only about 3 residents out there, and the residential acreage were 20 acres or more. So we found this 20 acres for $38,500 on a hilltop. Just beautiful wooded acreage, variety of trees and rock outcroppings and so forth. And went ahead and bought it. We didn't even have a place to live. So we bought this piece of land. We figured, well, we'll find us a rental up there somewhere and rent. While we're renting, we'll start building. We'll build another cottage like we did in Texas. You know, what the heck. We're a little older, it goes a little slower maybe, but you know, we've done it before, we'll do it again. So that was our plan. The realtors asked us about that. Said, do y'all have a place to stay? What's your plans? And we told them, well, nah, we're leaving it in the hands of the Lord. we're looking for a rental. And they told us, have you looked very much yet? I said, no, just a little bit. I didn't find anything. They said, there's not any rentals. This is small town USA. There's not much here. And but there is a house in Gainesville, a little older home in Gainesville that came up, and I think it would make a nice investment property. Although I'm not really interested in being a landlord or anything, would y'all be interested in renting it? I'll go ahead and buy it. Y'all can move in. And how about $500 a month? We looked at the photos. It looked great. 2 bedroom, 1 bath. Had storage in the back, a carport. Had appliances already, washer and dryer, and stove and refrigerator. So $500 a month, we can't turn that down. So we jumped on it.